This is the Pal Talk News Network.
The views expressed are solely those of the speaker and not necessarily those of paltalk.com, AVM Software, or its advertisers.
News Talk is online. News Talk Online is a production of paltalk.com, the largest multimedia interactive program on the internet with more than 4 million unique users on demand on iTunes, YouTube, Blip TV, and my blog, GaryBaumgarten.com, where you're encouraged to post your comments. Whether you agree with yours truly or not, no retribution. And thanks to our good friends at CRN Digital Talk Radio. We're syndicated to an additional 12 million households. I am your host, Gary Baumgarten. I'm joining you for a very special edition of News Talk Online from the United Nations. It's the Talk Radio Day here at the United Nations, sponsored by Talkers Magazine and our good friends at the Talk Radio News Service. And before I introduce the gentleman to my right, your left, I want to tell those of you who are listening on CRN or any of our many fine internet radio affiliates, if you want to join in on this conversation, and this gives you an opportunity to talk to officials at the UN, ambassadors directly, go to joinchatnow.com. Joinchatnow.com. Click on that, and you will be magically transported into our virtual auditorium on paltalk.com, and there is no charge. So, without further ado, I want to welcome Jeff Shaw from the IAEA to News Talk Online on the Pal Talk News Network.
Gary, thank you very much.
Thanks for having you with us. And for those of you who are a little bit uninitiated, the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, is actually an arm of the United Nations based in Brussels, I believe.
Vienna.
In Vienna.
Mm-hmm.
And you are its main representative here at UN headquarters.
That's right,
in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
So we only have you for an abbreviated amount of time, so I want to cut right to the chase. Where does the IAEA stand with regards to inspections of Iran's nuclear facilities?
Okay. We're in the process. We've been investigating Iran's nuclear program for a number of years now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Iran has what we call a safeguards agreement with us. For a number of years, they were not declaring all the information they were supposed to be declaring to us. And so we've been working to try and clarify the issues for the international community on where exactly the Iran program is. And we've just issued a report which will be discussed next week in Vienna at our Board of Governors meeting. And what that says is that the agency can verify that there's no diversion of declared nuclear material. But it also says that we can't provide assurances about possible undeclared activities. And we need further cooperation from Iran to provide international community confidence that it's all exclusively peaceful.
So what's being done on the diplomatic front, Jeff, to try to get them to be more forthcoming than they have been in the past?
Well, of course, the diplomatic track is something that we as an organization are not directly involved in. Our job is to verify and provide technical advice to the international community about the state of play of Iran's nuclear program. Of course, we have here in New York discussions on a possible sanction. We have another track which is looking at dialogue through, for example, the Brazilian and Turkish foreign ministers striking a deal with the Iranians about transferring some of their material out for their research reactor. But from our perspective, we continue to encourage Iran to engage with us on all aspects of the nuclear program so that we can come to some conclusions about aspects which we at the moment are not unsure about.
So specifically, what happens on the ground when... Are there inspectors in Iran now?
We have inspectors pretty much 24/7 there.
So you go and knock on the door of where you think there's a nuclear facility?
No, we have... Iran is required to declare under its safeguard agreement the facilities to us. They're required to do that, and we are allowed to go and inspect those facilities. We don't have the powers we had in Iraq, which was anywhere, anytime. There's international law, and Iran is fulfilling its obligations under the safeguards agreement to provide us with access, say, to Natanz, where they're enriching uranium. And we've just agreed the modalities for safeguards, containment and surveillance measures, monitoring, unannounced inspections at the facility, which is enriching now to 20%. So that's been a positive development. But we don't have the authority to go anywhere in the country. And what the international community has been urging, what Security Council has been urging Iran to do, is adopt what we call the additional protocol, which is a way for us to get more information and greater access on the ground.
So what you are suggesting is what a lot of people are speculating, and the news that we get with regard to Iran, sometimes we don't know the veracity of the information that's coming out, but the fear obviously is that there are other plants that have not been declared that you'd like to get into and ensure that that they're developing nuclear energy and not nuclear weapons.
Sure, I mean that's our job, to make sure that peaceful nuclear energy is not misused. But it's not North Korea here. I mean, Iran is still a member of the NPT. Iran is cooperating with us on some aspects, but it's not giving us the level of information and cooperation we need to resolve, for example, questions we have about possible military dimensions to their program, questions about possible alleged studies. But they're still part of the NPT. We are safeguarding their enrichment facility, and without enriched uranium or plutonium, you can't make a bomb. So no one's suggesting they have a nuclear weapon at this time, but the concern really is about future intentions. And our job is to try and, as I say, provide the facts to the international community, and we are working with Iran to try and do just that.
Iran and supporters of Iran say, there's a double standard here. Israel, that's not a member of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, and which is never acknowledged, but it's pretty much an open secret, that they have nuclear facilities and probably nuclear weapons. You can't get in there to look at their facilities because they're not part of the treaty. Yeah, look,
Iran, that's exactly right. Israel, for strategic reasons, along with India and Pakistan, never joined the NPT.
Right.
Iran did. Iran, by joining the NPT as a non-nuclear weapon state, undertook some obligations as a non-nuclear weapon state. It agreed to allow inspections, agency inspections of its facilities on both, to ensure that it's exclusively peaceful. Israel never took on that obligation. We do inspections in Israel, I should add, at specific facilities, but we don't have what we call comprehensive safeguards. We don't cover all the facilities in Israel. But it is a difficult issue. It's just a question of legitimacy versus legality. There are legal obligations on Iran because it is a member of the NPT. What the international community, what we saw here in the NPT meeting just concluded last week, was calls on urging Israel to join the NPT as a non-nuclear weapon state, which would then mean it would have to accept comprehensive safeguards on all of its nuclear facilities.
So what happens if Iran just decides we're not going to be part of the NPT any longer?
Well, what we saw in the case of North Korea, it decided to leave the NPT. It decided it would no longer cooperate with the agency, told us to leave, and we haven't been able to provide assurance to the international community since then. Of course, it's then developed a ballistic missile program. It's tested nuclear explosive devices. It says we're producing nuclear weapons. It's in no one's interest to see Iran to go down that route. That's why the need for engagement, need for cooperation, need to be encouraging Iran to the table, and the international community recognises that. We have this six-party process, the P5 plus Germany, working with Iran over a number of years. US has been in part of that, saying